Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of Anderson and Garland Auctioneers based in the UK. We're going to have a look at their latest auction, the Music Auction, which is happening on the 12th of October 2022. So it's the 5th today, so there's still quite a while to go. This particular auction has 283 lots, but actually it's only the first page and a half that has things that are relevant to us, so actually it's probably about 130 items that we want to look at. Seems that the buyer's premium for this auction is listed as 30%, but that does include the VAT as well, so I think it's around the normal kind of level. As I said before, this is a UK based auction, so if you are outside of the UK, if you are in Europe or an international bidder, then bear in mind kind of export, import fees, shipping, any CITES stuff, etc, etc, all of that lovely fun stuff. So without further ado, I think let's just carry on and see what we have. The first lot is actually an E-Benj B-flat silver plated trumpet with tempered bell, £300 to £500 there. Los Angeles, California, apparently, custom built, with a Dennis Wick precision mute. So if you're into trumpets, then this might be a lot for you. Then we have a Boozy & Hawkes BH400 trumpet with case. That is £500 to £800. Boozy & Hawkes are the big kind of dealers in instruments and music as well, sheet music. A Betten 600 trombone there, £40 to £60. Another Boozy & Hawkes thing. Lot 4, a York flugelhorn, interesting, with a Vincent Bach mouthpiece, £30 to £50. A Jupiter JPS 547 soprano saxophone, £200 to £300 there. Made in Taiwan, and lacquered brass. A Yamaha YTS 62 tenor saxophone, £1,200 to £1,800 is the estimate. Made in Japan. An Emerson silver closehole flute, £200 to £300 there. Trevor James Canterville 2 flute, £200 to £300 there. Solid silver pipe stamped 925. Circa 2003, that's £200 to £300 there. Mullenhauer Tenor Recorder in C, £80 to £120. Interesting looking instrument. A Yamaha 255 Clarinet, £100 to £150 there. A vintage Hawkes bassoon, £150 to £200. That is quite a cool vintage case actually that it comes with. Interesting lot for a bassoonist. A Boozy & Hawkes E-flat clarinet cased, circa 1936. Interesting. A lot of Boozy & Hawkes stuff in this auction, but that's not too surprising as they really were quite huge once upon a time. And a Alto Saxophone by C.G. Cohn, retailed by the Saxophone Shop in Gerrard Street, £380 to £450 the estimate there. 7 harmonicas there, Hohner ones, or they seem to all potentially be. Oh, there's a B branded harmonica there, made in China, but a lot of harmonicas, £30 to £50. Set of Hohner Blues Band harmonicas, £30 to £40. Northumbrian small pipes, interesting, £200 to £300. Doesn't give a maker. We sometimes do see these at auction. It's always good to see something a little bit more unusual. A Hohner Bravo 372 accordion there, £200 to £300. A Wordmaster piano accordion, £40 to £60. A Hohner Tango 3 120 bass piano accordion, £60 to £100. These all look in pretty good condition. Scarlatti 72 bass piano accordion, 50 to 100. A Thomas Shakespeare 48 key Anglo concertina in D and G, 1000 to 1500. Here we are into the big leagues of concertinas, of which there are lots of collectors, and these can be very valuable. I believe that is a kind of a higher level concertina there. Here's a copy of the Messiah, 30 to 40, leather bound. A Celtic harp and another harp there, 70 to 100. A beginner Ethiopian lyre harp, 70 to 100. So it has an instruction DVD, so there you go, you can all start playing, no excuses. It's a cool looking instrument. An Indian Dilruba bow with bow and case, 80 to 120 pounds. Not an instrument that I'm familiar with, I must admit. A tenor or alto viol by Arnold Dolmetsch, okay, 200 to 300 pounds. Arnold Dolmetsch in Hazelmere, numbered 590. Interesting looking thing. Let's have a look at the pictures. It's a fairly plain looking instrument that makes sense. I think that's similar to a lot of the Dolmetsch workshop output, but looks like it could be serviceable as a working instrument, maybe not as refined as some of the modern interpretations of viols, but nevertheless could be useful for a kind of cheaper price. A Violin Bow by Joe Schneider there, apparently. I don't know if we can get a better picture of that. There's the frog and the head, nothing super outrageous to see there. An early 20th century German violin, 100 to 180 pounds there. 36 is the length of back. Comes with a bow. This looks like a very standard kind of trade violin, but in kind of fair condition. The bow of something similar, although it looks like it might have a break on the head. James Raw's custom-made violin, 2.5 to 3,000 pounds. A James Raw custom-made violin, 2004. Label it inscribed James Raw's, maker Carlisle, 2004. Bridge stamped the same. Okay, interesting. Quite a nice back there. That's the scroll. It's a shame it keeps on firing me down there with the pictures. There's a picture of the label. Well, I don't know much about this maker. I feel that it will probably struggle to sell at 2.5 to 3,000 unless this is quite a well-known maker, just because English violins, contemporary ones, unless you're a well-known person, struggle a bit, but we shall see how that goes. A 3/4 size violin bow and case, marked Dresden, 80 to 140. Looks in good condition. The pictures it's a little bit annoying the way that it fires you down. The bow is definitely nothing. That's a terrible bow. So they're saying a late 19th or early 20th century incomplete violin with case, 100 to 200, 35 centimeter length of back. This so far looks to be just a kind of normal tradey violin from what I can see, and I think that is about it. Another violin, they're saying late 19th, early 20th century, 100 to 200 the estimate. Rebuilt in Leamington Mill, March the 9th, 1898 by SWT. Interesting. Let's have a look at this. quite a nice back on it. In general, the varnish looks okay. Difficult to know what to make of that. And a Chinese violin, Zi Ling Liang Guangzhou, with a fine figure 2-piece maple back and ribs, 2 to 400. And have a look at that. Scrolls a bit there. I think we've got doubled up, tripled up on pictures quite a lot. Not sure if this is an actual individual maker or a trade name. Not something I've come across before. Violin for restoration, labelled James Charlton, 1891. 40 to 60 the estimate. Quite a nice kind of back. Looks like the kind of Englishy yellow varnish of the time. A few pegs. It definitely work for a luthier there. Yeah, looks quite interesting. More interesting in this picture than some of the other ones, but yeah, looks like that could well be a late 19th century English violin. A load of stentor bows there, 100 to 200. I think nothing too crazy there. 9 various violin bows and a cello bow, 40 to 80. Maybe some interesting things in there. German violin bow by Alfred Knoll, or marked Alfred Knoll anyway. I think sometimes with these auctions you really need to kind of know what you're looking at, because they don't necessarily always have high level experts looking at this stuff. Violin bow stamped Viome at Paris, 200 to 400. I think this is a bit optimistic potentially with this. 19th century rosewood violin case and 2 bow cases, 60 to 80. One labelled James Tubbs and Son. That might be popular with people into bows. Some Philips musical instrument catalogues, 30 to be precise, 20 to 30 pounds. Philips used to have some really high level instrument auctions, so that could be some good reading. Some violin parts, some strings, bridges and other bits, 20 to 50 I think. 36 famous Italian violin prints, boxed, 60 to 80. Published by Herman Gordon, New York, 1974. I think that might be fairly popular. Violin bow case, lute case, and a violin case. Okay, interesting. Good violin case there. That's a violin case. Not sure why. What's the lute case? I think that's 2 violin cases, or a viola case and a violin case. So I think that's a bit wrong. In any case, violin labelled Rigart Rubus, 150 to 250. I think it's generally accepted that these are kind of German-made trade instruments with a Russian label, although maybe there were some original ones that were made in Russia. And these have the kind of interesting rounded edges. Some people say they kind of play okay. I'm not sure. Don't think I've seen one in person. The bow, nothing of any note, I don't think. Violin after Jean-Baptiste Viome, apparently, with a Viome label, 2 to 300 pounds. Interesting craquelature on the varnish, and quite a nice back actually. Let's have a look at the scroll. Interesting craquelature, quite well made. Just double check this. Oh, it's got a neck graft as well. Okay, it's an interesting looking violin, 2 to 300. I think that is a violin of potential, I would say. Yeah, interesting looking violin. Lot 46 is withdrawn. It was an English violin by Bridge Limited. I think I know what this looks like, and it was just, this is a modern kind of trade kind of violin with an odd kind of scroll. 2 violins for restoration. A violin labelled G.O.B. Whitaker, London 1828, and another, both for restoration, £40 to £80. Let's have a look at these. I presume that this is the one that's labelled 1828. Looks like a potential English violin. That one looks a bit more tradey. Yeah, I think that is a fairly tradey instrument. This one that's on the left, this one looks a bit more believable there, at least of something a bit more interesting. And the scroll there, quite nice. So definitely some potential in the violin on the right. A whole load of bows, 30 to 50. An Ozark tenor banjo, 40 to 60 pounds there. Tanglewood 5-string G banjo. Mandolin banjo, 20 to 30. Stag M29 mandolin. Epiphone Les Paul SG Custom, 150 to 250. Quite a nice looking guitar there. Lot 54, a 1962 Gibson L7C guitar, 5 to 7,000 jazz guitar. That's a nice looking instrument there. I think that might be a good candidate for the thumbnail. Yeah, looks like a very nice instrument. Yeah, very curious. Sold with a CITES certificate there. Kalamazoo, made in Michigan, USA. Yep, 1962. Very, very nice. Gibson Les Paul Deluxe, 2.5 to 3,500 there, circa 1972. Let's have a look at this. Interesting, the kind of mini humbuckers there that aren't necessarily popular with everyone, but still quite curious. A lot of wear on that, which I think some people do like, natural wear. Definitely an interesting lot there for a Gibson enthusiast. Gibson ES335 cased, estimate 2 to 3,000 there, circa 2006, honeyburst finish. Once again, quite a nice looking Gibson there. Fender 40th anniversary Stratocaster, 800 to 1,200 pounds. 40th anniversary there, 1994. Some quite nice guitars in this auction. EKO Revo Bravo 12-string guitar, 150 to 250 pounds. Takamine EG 510 SC Electro acoustic guitar, case, 200 to 300 pounds. This is all stuff I think from the Alan Wilkes collection. An electric guitar, 40 to 60, it's 1970s. These kind of interesting things that were floating about, kind of trying to replicate some of the American guitars. Oh, a 1960s Hofner President, 400 to 600, a brunette one, CITES certificate. These are nice guitars. I always like to see these Hofners. Fender Squier Tom DeLonghi Stratocaster 50 to 70. Fender USA Stratocaster 4 to 600 pounds there. Ocean Turquoise. It's a nice nice colour. Fender Mexico Stratocaster there 2 to 300 in Candy Apple Red. (1997) Fender USA, 1977 Fender USA Precision Bass 1000 to 1500, made in Fullerton, California. Getting confused with my dates there. And Westone Thunder 1 electric guitar 150 to 250, made in Japan by Matsumuko. Quite an eclectic shape, but there are people that do like these. An Antoria Hummingbird, Japanese made Hummingbird copy from the 1970s, 60 to 100. A Fender Japan 50th anniversary custom Telecaster 3 to 500. Epiphone EB3 bass 100 to 200. 1984 Gibson Studio Custom. I'm sure this will be popular. Yamaha F310 guitar. Nice acoustic there. 20 to 30. Epiphone Sheraton 2 to 300, 1977, made by Samek in Korea. Briarwood 12-string acoustic guitar 50 to 70. And a Stag Electro acoustic bass there for 70 to 120. Vintage V96 bass guitar 150 to 200. A Fender Squier Jazz bass 80 to 120. And a Modern Player Jazz bass 200 to 300. Fender Mexico Standard Jazz bass 200 to 300. Gibson Les Paul Studio 400 to 600, 2005 there. A bag of cables and things 20 to 40. J&D Les Paul Yamaha practice amp and accessories 40 to 60. Hellman's S-style guitar 20 to 50. PV Milestone 3 bass 40 to 60. Interesting cutaways there. Fender Squier fretless jazz bass 60 to 100. Alhambra 5-piece Spanish classical guitar 250 to 350. Quite a nice back on that. 1963 Fender Precision Bass 4 to 6,000. This is a fairly interesting bass to see. An early Fender. That's not too common. So a 1963 Fender Precision bass guitar, serial number 91449, maple neck rosewood fretboard with clay dot markers, three-toned sunburst finish with tortoiseshell pickguards, Selmer period case with original paperwork, sold with non-transferable CITES certificate, bought new by the present owner from Barrett's of Manchester Limited, 61 New Bridge Street, Newcastle, on the 2nd of March 1963, and comes with the original Selmer guarantee card, the original receipt and hire purchase agreement, and a photograph of guitar with Newcastle beat group Kim D and the Kinetics. The guitar was used extensively in the club circuit in the UK and Hamburg. Wow, that is pretty cool. So that's got a lot of provenance to it. A D'Angelico Premier Mott electroacoustic bass, 2 to 300. And so I think this is the first time I've ever seen like an acoustic D'Angelico bass. Yamaha RBX 170 bass, 60 to 100. Fender Precision Bass 500 to 800, 84 to 87 kind of period. Schecter Diamond Series C4 Elite Bass 2 to 400. Custom handmade guitar mandola 150 to 250. That's definitely an interesting looking one. Oh, it even has a case as well. That's quite handy. Blue Moon Electroacoustic Guitar 50 to 80. Columbus Hummingbird guitar there. Early 1970s, 60 to 100. PV bass guitar 60 to 100. Fender Californian Series Kingman Electroacoustic Guitar, estimate 60 to 100. Interesting. And a Tanglewood Odyssey Bowlback Electroacoustic Guitar, 60 to 100. Okay, and then I think we're moving on to what would be page 2 of the items. 2 guitar necks and a mandola neck, estimate 40 to 60. Fairly interesting. Then we've got a Crafter Cruiser Strat style guitar. Got a fair few pictures here, but I think 2 will suffice. 50 to 70 the estimate. An Eco Arranger guitar there. See if we've got a shot of the back. 100 to 150 is the estimate, made in Italy. Anderson Garland pictures are usually pretty decent, at least for guitars anyway. An Arai XL guitar, 80 to 120 pounds there. A PRS SE24 guitar, 2 to 300 pounds there. Let's have a quick look at the back. So far nothing too crazy. A Columbus Super Strat style guitar, 70 to 100 in cream. A Washburn single cut guitar, estimates 100 to 150 on that. An Applause AE 047 guitar, 100 to 150. So this is one of these composite back guitars. An EKO Tri-D acoustic guitar, 60 to 100 pounds there. Let's have a quick look at the back. More information down below. A Recording King RO26SN guitar, 150 to 200. If there's anything super interesting, we will stop and have a closer look. A Salvatore D'Angelo Banjo Resonator guitar. Okay, this is slightly different. As they say here, an unusual banjo resonator guitar labelled Salvatore D'Angelo and Figli, Sicily, circa 1930s. This is, yeah, quite unusual, I have to say. I do not recall having seen one of these before. Looks very well made, nice kind of choice of timber, so that's interesting. 70 to 100, an interesting lot. Clayton Guitars T-style guitar, 60 to 100 pounds. That's a real kind of hot pink colour there. Interesting looking guitar there. A Spanish classical guitar by Teodoro Perez, Madrid. Interesting. 1,500 to 2,500 pounds. This is from 2008. Madagascar rosewood back and sides. Interesting. Let's have a look at these back. That is that's quite beautiful actually. As a classical guitar, very nice. Nice case. That's okay. So that's a very nice classical guitar there. That's good. A load of books about guitar, bass, mandolin, and other stuff there. we won't look into that. Some guitar stands and music stands. Watkins Copycat Echo Unit. Oh, interesting. One of the really old ones. 400 to 600 there. Yeah, rare 1963 unit there. Original receipt there, £34 from Yardley's of Birmingham. From the collection of Alan Wilkes, Midlands session guitarist and teacher. I looked him up just very quickly, and I think he played with a few different bands and on some TV shows. I think he was potentially a guitarist for Des O'Connor at some point, but interesting bit of provenance there. Korg Toneworks AX 1500G effects pedal, 40 to 60. So good classic effects pedal. PV PA speakers and a console there. A little bit away from us, but 70 to 120. 2 guitar practice amps, Fender Indie even, and a Vantage amplifier. I think nothing too crazy to see here. 30 to 50 there. PV power amp there, 50 to 100. PV Max 158 bass amplifier, 40 to 60. It's fairly standard. Marshall valve state, 8080 V guitar amplifier, 80 to 120 there. Interesting. Fender Rumble 500 bass amplifier. That's quite a cool one. 150 to 250. Nice looking amp. 1960s Vox AC30 bass amp head and Vox bass cabinet. Oh, that must be quite rare. 3 to 4,000. That's quite a price. I don't remember seeing many Vox bass amps and cabinets, to be honest. Serial number 9664B, made by Jennings Musical Instruments Limited. Yep, that's an interesting one for a bassist. A vintage Lorenzo organ, 30 to 40 pounds. Okay. Yamaha Portatone PSR 9000 electronic keyboard, 100 to 150 pounds there. Roland Juno 60 synthesizer keyboard, 800 to 1200 pounds. Circa 1980s, I bet that is probably fairly uncommon. A Knight teak framed upright piano, estimates 100 to 200. Not the nicest looking piano I've seen. Yamaha upright piano there, 800 to 1200 pounds, model Q1. A Bechstein Model S baby grand piano, 2 to 3,000 pounds, circa 1935. It's got an ivory reference there for kind of CITES reasons or all of that stuff. 1931 Steinway Model M piano, 4 to 6,000 there. Another ivory submission reference. A clavichord and stand. Okay, interesting. 100 to 200 pounds there. A figured walnut clavichord with spruce soundboard and 30 black keys. Okay, interesting. Does it have a maker or is it anonymous? Okay, well, that's interesting. That's a very it's quite a nice looking instrument. Probably needs a bit of, looks like it needs a bit of TLC and adjustment, but I mean, potential to buy a clavichord there if you're interested in early music. That could be for a good price. So that's an interesting lot to see. Composite drum kit here, so load of different bits from different drums, some Premiere stuff, and a Maxwin Tom. So a bit of a random lot, 50 to 70. Yamaha Stage custom drum kit, 3 to 400 pounds. Looks like it's a good lot of different things. An Edison home phonograph, an HMV wind-up gramophone, 60 to 100 pounds. A little bit off our usual thing, but interesting to see anyway. An Arcam Delta black box, 50 DAC. Digital to analog converter, 50 to 80. Once again, a little bit away from us. I think that's actually really it. I think anything else past this point is just a pro audio thing or hi-fi that we don't need to look at. So yeah, quite an interesting auction there for sure. A lot of different things about, definitely worth having a look. I'll put a link in the description, have a look, see what you think about it. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.